Welcome to a new episode of Middle East Insights. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, activate the notification bell to stay updated, and share. Thank you. Northern Gaza rises up against occupation. Northern Gaza is resisting the occupation, challenging the general's plan, especially after the resignation of its architect today. This resignation has led to widespread doubts about the plan, its outcomes, and its overall cost-effectiveness. These doubts were further fueled by an American report that raised a critical question about the achievements and costs in northern Gaza, particularly after undeniable videos surfaced. More importantly, reports indicate that the reserve forces are only at 80% strength, with the remaining 20% facing significant risks, according to U.S. intelligence sources. The cost of occupying Gaza is turning out to be far higher than anticipated, even by the most renowned intelligence and research centers advising the Pentagon's Defense Intelligence Agency, or DIA. This dire situation contrasts sharply with the heroic and legendary resilience of northern Gaza. Today, over 50 commanders have fallen in what can only be described as a fierce battle. This has prompted calls for reviews and re-evaluations, particularly as the fall of Katz may mark the end of the far-right's last political strongholds, including the more extreme Golan. Meanwhile, Palestinian resistance in the north has intensified its operations against Israeli incursions. For instance, in the Beit Lahia area near Tel al-Dahab and around the Development Society, Israeli Merkava tanks and D9 bulldozers were targeted with Yasin shells. Al-Qassam brigades announced the sniper targeting of a soldier near Abbas al-Yalani Square in the northern city, and in the same area, they confirmed eliminating 3 others. Israeli military sources confirm that 4 soldiers are in critical condition. Military media broadcast footage of targeted Israeli vehicles in northern and western Beit Lahia and the western outskirts of Jabalia. Al-Qassam brigades also destroyed a Merkava 4 tank with a Shawaz explosive device. Simultaneously, the Jihad brigades launched 107 rockets at the Netzarim axis, while Saraya al-Quds destroyed a Merkava tank with a Thaqib explosive device on Al-Shamaa Street in northern Beit Lahia. This escalation included joint rocket barrages targeting command and control centers in the Netzarim axis and the Fajra site. Israeli military experts openly discuss the challenges of continuing this war, noting that the costs now outweigh the achievements given the increasing casualties among Israeli forces. Israeli analyst Alon Ben David from Channel 13 remarked that Israel has reached a stage where the cost exceeds the potential gains. While the Israeli army could remain in Gaza for years, the reality is that in any given area, the army might spend months and lose dozens of soldiers without substantial progress. Former officer Giora Eland, who initially drafted the general's plan, openly criticized the ongoing campaign, highlighting the loss of 24 officers and soldiers during the northern Gaza offensive. Eland argued that the only solution is to withdraw all forces from Gaza in a comprehensive deal. He dismissed notions of continued fighting as illusory, claiming that no absolute victory would be achieved. The acknowledgement of heavy losses, particularly the 24 fatalities in Jabalia, has shaken Israeli public opinion. This, combined with statements from top military officials, underscores the harsh price Israel is paying. Channel 2 analyst Amnon Abramovich also called for ending the war and securing the return of captives after the high casualty toll in Jabalia. Jabalia, now seen as a decisive point in northern Gaza, symbolizes a turning point in the conflict, undermining the general's plan, which seems to be collapsing even before it could fully materialize. The statistics revealed that 192 Israeli officers have been killed in this war since October 7. This means that 1 out of every 4 fallen officers was a commander, 67 platoon leaders, 63 company commanders, 20 deputy company commanders, 7 battalion commanders, 5 brigade commanders, and 4 division commanders. According to the total military losses, 48 of those killed were performing mandatory service, around half, while 18% were serving in permanent positions and 34% were reservists. It became evident that the Israeli military had to prepare 600 new graves to bury its soldiers. A rabbi suggested this might be the final phase of expansion, as beyond these 600 graves, there might not be additional digging. Consequently, the Ministry of Defense allocated 7.7 dunams to the military cemetery, confirming that expansion work would soon be completed to meet the increasing demands of the military. The loss of 600 soldiers represents a defining moment in this battle, according to several reports. This signifies an acceleration of casualties as the only means to counter Israeli power. The same casualty rate has been observed since the war began, and this figure, 600, speaks volumes, not just about the prospect of another year of war, but also about an intensification of hostilities. The battles in northern Gaza and southern Lebanon have driven up the cost of war significantly. These developments may lead to the conclusion of the 600 casualties, and perhaps even the war itself, as some predict. The failure of the general's strategy has added to the mounting costs. For the first time, a carefully engineered plan was abandoned at a critical moment. The mention of 25 casualties in Jabalia alone, excluding the potential severity of the situation in Khan Yunis, highlights the ongoing challenges. Jabalia and Khan Yunis are central to Israel's nightmares, with the former being the Islamic Jihad's capital. These factors reinforce the notion that the battalions, along with the Palestinian resistance, are navigating an exceptional moment to end Israel's ambitions in Gaza permanently. This extraordinary development is pivotal for the Palestinian resistance, as it understands that this battle will determine the fate of Gaza and the broader state. The last-ditch plans by the Israeli military, under the leadership of figures like Netanyahu and Katz, represent their final strategy. If this plan collapses, it would mark the end of Israel's occupation of Gaza. Currently, Israel's loss of 48 to 50 field commanders is significant, as these leaders are integral to its strategy. Gaza has effectively turned into a graveyard for Israeli field commanders, reinforcing the resistance's resilience. With the confirmed loss of 50 military leaders, it is clear that this has been one of the fiercest and most critical battles yet. Thank you and goodbye.